Hello, Mr. Cruz, and anybody else that may see this video. I'd like to present you with my research paper titled Fight the Power, Hip Hop's Battle is Public Enemy. So, anyways, upon its creation in the 1970s, hip hop music wasn't a global phenomenon. In fact, unless one lived in the Bronx, it wasn't even widely known that such a thing existed. However, with its diversified array of influences such as rhythm and blues, funk, disco, and African music, hip-hop evolved from block parties into one of the United States' most popular forms of music. It all started in 1979 when one single put an entirely new genre onto the nation's map. With the release of their first single, Rapper's Delight, the Sugar Hill Gang became the first hip-hop group to achieve mainstream success on the national level. However, even after the success of Rapper's Delight, it would have been hard for anyone to foresee just how big hip-hop's future really was. That reality started to reveal itself nearly 10 years later, around the same time that acts such as Ice-T and NWA showed the world a new form of rap, gangster rap. As a subgenre that reflected the violent lifestyles of America's inner cities, gangster rap quickly became one of the most controversial forms of music. With its vulgar lyrics and glorification of a lifestyle that is widely frowned upon, gangster rap left parents all over the country in outrage. With music that was so vicious, quote unquote, according to ex-House of Representatives Speaker Newt Gingrich, many felt that gangster rap had no place in America to be influencing our country's youth. Consequently, it created a question that many are still asking today. Is the exposure to unflattering forms of rap music, such as gangster rap, harmful towards the development of our country's youth? When you look at the concerns of those who are against music such as gangster rap, you'll find that there are three qualities to it that tend to bring out the most controversy in its opposers. Those three elements are the encouragement towards the use of drugs and alcohol, misogyny, and the glorification of violence. Undoubtedly, these three subjects can point towards some very ugly aspects of our country, and it would be difficult for one to find a parent that would want his or her child to be influenced by these things. However, the question isn't whether or not parents want their children following these paths, but if the exposure to rappers who condemn them is significantly harmful towards their children. Also, if these aspects of certain rap songs are harmful to children, would simply sheltering them from the music make all of these negative behaviors go away? Or would the various alternative promotions of these behaviors prove to be just as harmful? Enlightenment towards the answers to these questions can be first explored in rap music's promotion of illicit drug use and alcohol use. For those who feel that rap music increases the likelihood of its listeners using these substances, there are some studies that have gathered results supporting this notion. As mentioned in the article, Influence of Music on Youth Behaviors, a recent study developed by the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism found that frequent exposure to music with subject matter involving violence and substance abuse is significantly correlated with both illicit drug use and problems with alcohol. While this statement doesn't necessarily point to just rap music, the study did find that rap music was the genre with the highest association to these actions. As compared to the other genres involved in the study, rap music was consistently and positively associated with the use of alcohol, malt liquor, potential alcohol use disorder, marijuana, and club drugs. While these findings could be seen as a cause for concern, there also are some undeniable flaws to the study which could take away some of the legitimacy of these results. For one, in the study, the participants were asked to select every form of music that they listened to from a list of musical genres. However, upon making their selections, the participants were not asked to specify how much they listened to each genre. Clearly, this detail could be extremely important in determining how much of a correlation there really is between listening to rap music and using potentially harmful substances. If someone barely listens to rap music, they would almost surely be less influenced by it than someone who listens to rap music regularly. However, if the study doesn't ask the participants to be more specific, then there's no way of knowing this potentially important detail. Another flaw is that the study did not factor how much attention the respondents pay towards the lyrics in their music. In reality, there's a very large number of people who don't pay a lot of attention to the actual lyrics in the music they listen to. If someone listens to rap music but doesn't put any focus into the actual lyrics of the songs, it would be hard for them to be influenced by what the rappers are saying. Considering flaws like these, the relationship found between rap music and the use of drugs and alcohol seems to be inconclusive at the least. Another heavy concern with the content of some forms of rap music is the promotion of misogyny and the oppression of women. Undoubtedly, there are various examples in rap music of lyrics with misogynistic tendencies or the ideology that women are objects rather than men's equals. For example, in Eminem's 97 Bonnie and Clyde, the famous rapper presents his listeners with a storytelling track in which he casually explains to his infant-age daughter in baby talk that he killed her mother. In a haunting concept, Eminem explains, "Come on, hey hey, we're going to the beach. Grab a couple of toys and let Dada strap you in the car seat. Oh, where's Mama? She's taking a little nap in the trunk. Oh, what's that smell? Woo! Dada must have run over a skunk." In the song, not only does Eminem discuss killing his wife, but he does it in such a casual way that he treats the situation as if it's not even serious. This, of course, is the key concern of those who fight against the misogynistic tendencies that can be found throughout rap music. While Eminem's behavior in 97 Bonnie and Clyde may be an extreme example, it still sufficiently explains why many people are afraid of how hip-hop could affect the youth's view of women. As explained in the article, the words have changed, but the ideology remains the same: misogynistic lyrics in rap music. It is important to consider the potential shaping force the misogyny in rap may have on how young people may view themselves and the relations between the sexes. Considering the tendency of adolescents to shape their behavior off of their influences, one can surely see how the display of misogyny in rap lyrics could negatively affect the large amount of youth who are influenced by them. Although it could be hard to argue that misogynistic lyrics are 100% harmless to hip-hop's young listeners, there is a legitimate question in whether or not the censoring of these lyrics would accomplish much. In America, as well as the rest of the world, misogynistic ideas are not a new phenomenon. It's an ideology that has been a part of human existence since the beginning of our time, and an ideology that will continue to exist regardless of whether or not rappers continue to discuss it. There are simply too many other resources out there that portray women in an unethical light for the censorship of misogynistic rap lyrics to accomplish anything. Ironically, a lot of these resources are brought to us and supported by women. Consider some of America's most famous female celebrities such as Katy Perry and Megan Fox. Instead of relying on talent to market themselves to the world, these young women rely on selling their sex appeal instead. Then there's women such as Kim Kardashian, who's only famous because of her physical qualities. However, most ironic of all, when you look at Kardashian's reality show as an example, it's not primarily men who make up the show's demographic, but women. Here's a show that is marketed around a woman famous for her sex appeal, yet women are the ones who are eating it up. When keeping this idea in mind, how can one expect to eliminate misogyny from America when there are so many women out there who are willing to promote themselves as sex objects, and even more women who are supporting them for it by following their various forms of media? Clearly, misogynistic ideologies are not a rap music problem, but a problem that is apparent of the media in its entirety. While the disdain for women in certain rap lyrics should not be accepted, it's hard to believe that targeting only rap music could make a difference. To make true progress in the elimination of misogyny, one would imagine that society as a whole must change their way of thinking and no longer support any form of media that relies on the physical traits of women as a marketing tactic. Of course, while the subjects of substance use and misogyny are very controversial topics in hip-hop, one could argue that none are more controversial than the glorification of violence. One could also argue that the subject of violence even has a history of becoming the most identifiable aspect of rap music. In the article Changing Images of Violence in Rap Music, 1979 through 1997, a study reveals that from 1990 through 1993, 55% of rap songs had some mention of violence. That number rose even higher between 1994 through 1997, elevating to 60%. In contrast, between 1979 and 1989, the percentage of violence mentioned in rap music never exceeded 26%. What makes these numbers interesting is the timing of them. As mentioned in the article, after 1989, rap music became dominated by major record labels. Sure enough, this was also the period in which gangster rap emerged as a leading force in the hip-hop culture, and was picked up by youth all over the country. Predictably, with the rise in violent subject matter in hip-hop lyrics came a rise in objection to these lyrics from parents. Obviously, the concern comes from the idea that children's motivation for most behaviors stems from examples they have seen, as articulated by hip-hop is now an evolving youth culture. According to rap music and its violent progeny, America's Culture of Violence and Context, there is a clear relationship between childhood emotional development and role model emulation, supported by several FTC reports that cite a high correlation between exposure to media violence and aggressive behaviors in youth. Although causation is not included in these reports, there have been various American studies that have supported the ideology that youth behave more aggressively than adults. For example, adolescents are 3 times more likely than adults to be violently victimized. However, what is more alarming is that gun-related deaths of American youth under 15 are nearly 12 times higher than 25 similarly industrialized nations combined. Clearly, America's youth has aggressive tendencies, but what is not clear is how much of an effect rap music truly has on this problem. What makes it so hard to determine how much rap music affects children's aggression is the fact that violence is present in so many other forms of media. Considering many youth are constantly exposed to the media through movies, television, music, video games, and the internet, all of which can contain violence, how can one determine that rap is a superior threat? For example, by the time the average American child reaches the age of 18, they have witnessed 16,000 simulated murders and 200,000 acts of violence, whether it's through television, movies, or any other form of visual media. Not only that, but it also has been revealed that commercial television for children contains 50 to 60 times more violence than primetime adult television programs. With the visual media pushing violent behaviors on children in so many ways, how much of an effect could the elimination of violent rap lyrics truly have on children? Of course, there's no way of knowing for certain, but it would be hard for one to feel confident about it considering how many other ways these children are exposed to violence. This level of inconclusiveness leads to the point that clearly shows that the elimination of inappropriate rap lyrics will never be the lone answer to preventing our children from potentially harmful behaviors. If we as a country want to prevent children from being harmed by potentially negative influences, we must take it upon ourselves to reach them instead of leaving it up to those who are primarily concerned with what will earn them the most money. With rap music in particular, considering how influential it is to children, we must search for the ways in which we can use it to benefit children, not just label a whole genre as taboo. In fact, hip-hop has many qualities to it that could positively impact children. As mentioned in Slouching Toward Bork, The Culture Wars, and Self-Criticism in Hip-Hop Music, there's a plethora of rap songs that implore listeners to assume higher levels of moral and spiritual consciousness, as well as social responsibility. While not necessarily the same as conscious rap, the same concept can be found throughout various Christian groups. In the article Hip Hop Kingdom Come, there's a great understanding of this. As explained by the author, hip-hop is not a homogeneous subculture, but a diverse superculture transcending ethnic, geographical, and artistic boundaries. Hip-hop is one of the most diverse musical forms out there, and there's song after song waiting for youth to hear its positive message. Also, hip-hop could even be effective in some instances as a teaching method. When looking at the many writing techniques evident in various rap songs, such as imagery, metaphor, simile, alliteration, and so on, one can see that rap music could be a great way of introducing youth to these concepts. According to the article Promoting Academic Literacy with Urban Youth Through Engaging Hip-Hop Culture, it's explained that hip-hop has the potential to be a bridge linking the seemingly vast span between the streets and the world of academics. As you can see, while hip-hop certainly has the potential to create the negative, it also has the potential to create the positive. If we only pay attention to the negative, then that's all we can hope for. After all, why would record labels push their artists to make positive music if that's not what will gain them the most attention? The same can be said for any form of media. However, if we as a society stop giving people reasons to think violence, sex appeal, and substance use are effective ways of grabbing our attention, then that's when we can truly make a difference. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this, and I guess that's it. Later.